I was
Sorry.
no, it's fine. I was 2 years old, and they were young. They had me. My dad was 23, and my mom was 21. So came to a new country. Had some family, but very little. A lot of them just came from to America. So them getting established, trying to find their footing, and we moved around a lot. So that was actually kind of advantageous. Because of that, I made a lot of friends through the years that lived all over LA. So in 2000, my dad, the building, he used to work in a building in downtown LA. It got bought out, and they probably converted it to lofts or something like that. So he said, you know what, maybe this is a sign. I'm going to shut down this business. I'm going to join my wife. So they started working together in 2000. I was 17, about to graduate high school. So after that point, like every conversation in the house was like real estate, real estate, real estate. I showed this property, opened this, did this, did that. So I kind of was around that all the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be a realtor. There's no way. I'm gonna do something else. So I went to CSUN. I studied business admin and minored in marketing. And I wasn't really into school, but I figured you have to get a college degree. That was like the mindset, being an immigrant child and all that. So, so while I was in school, my mom was like, I was 21. It was like my last year in college. My mom said, hey, just get your license, just have it, it'll be useful, this, that. Already she's planting the seed in my head. And this was back in 2005, so 2004. So I got my license. But I was like, I'm just going to have it. I'm not going to use it. And then I started applying for jobs. And then I was like, man, if you're a marketing person, you don't really make anything. So I was like, fine, whatever, I'll work with you guys. So being a 21-year-old starting in this, you don't have much of like a sphere. You don't have, too many contacts. But I said, the problem of being young, you want the shortest path to success. So I was going and talking to like the biggest agents, and I was like, okay, what's the secret? What are you doing? Like, what's the secret sauce to get from here to here? And I was always walking away kind of disappointed, to be honest, because everything they explained was very meticulous, very detailed, and long term. And obviously I have my parents. So when I try to pick their brains, it was always like, look, you do a really good job for somebody, and they tell you, they talk about you to more people and more people. So you have to think more of like a long-term mindset. You're not thinking about what you're going to win today. You're thinking about, what am I going to do for this person that they're going to say, wow, what an amazing job you did. I'm going to just keep talking about you to everybody and say, hey, you shouldn't use anybody else but this person. But when you're so young, you're thinking like, wow, that's going to take way too damn long. So, and on top of that, you kind of jump around from like one strategy to the next and say, okay, now I'm going to door knock, now I'm going to do this, now I'm going to do that. So the problem with that is you're never going to find your footing unless you do something for at least a year. And at that age, I didn't learn that. So from 21 to 24, I was with my parents, and an opportunity came up to start my own company with a few other people where we got into the clothing industry. So me being, always with entrepreneurial mindset, I said, hey, I'm gonna jump on this. And the way my parents are is, if I tell them, hey, I want to do this, they're always like, yeah, go for it. They never hold me back for anything. So so we got into the clothing industry not knowing anything, and I'm like a meticulous researcher, so I go really deep into things. I'm not a natural salesperson, so I didn't get into the sales aspect of things. I was about design and development. So I was dealing with factories and on the manufacturing side of things, and then making sure things got made promptly, timely, efficiently, and costly. So completely different. So even if you talk to me now for 5 minutes, you'll know I'm not a salesperson. I don't text people with exclamation points and like all caps and like, oh my God, I don't speak in buzzword terms. I speak like the way I'm talking to you now. So this industry actually is very hard for me to kind of break out of my shell. I like being on the desk. I like to research. I like communicating with people, but I like doing it my way. So And I realize most of the people I speak to kind of appreciate that. And I reflect them in a way. And that's kind of what you're going to figure out in this business. A lot of people you work with are going to appreciate you for you. You know, for example, my mom's clients probably wouldn't like working with me. I work a little differently, but they love her. They'll run into a wall for her because, you know, that's all they know, and they think, hey, she's the right person for me. So a lot of you guys are gonna realize that. So anyways, back to that industry. So we built that into a pretty big monster. You know, we did that for 8 years. We were in, you know, 300 stores. Every location we said we were going to go into, Nordstrom's, you know, Bloomingdale's, this, that. Yeah, we were in 17 countries, 300 locations.
Wow.
And you know, I learned a lot in those 8 years. I lost everything. But there are some good takeaways from that. Takeaways that I could apply to what I do now. So one thing I learned, there was Fred Siegel's store, which was like iconic. And we wanted to work with this guy. And he kept ignoring us. His name was Mike Sessler. So he was not the owner, sorry, he was a buyer for the store. So we'd be at the trade shows, and this guy would constantly just walk by, not even give us the time of day. And then one day, he finally stopped at our booth, and he was like, I have to order something from you guys. And I was like, why? He's like, you know what? You're always here. You don't go away. You're always here. So I have to respect that. So that was something interesting, kind of, that I said, hey, you know what? That's, you know, there's something said about perseverance and just always being there. And this guy basically said, hey, you know what? They're doing something right. This is the third year I'm ignoring them. Maybe I should jump on the bandwagon too. And then he ended up being a long-term account for us, and we ended up being friends with him. So that was pretty cool. Then another takeaway is, you know, how quickly you can just make a couple mistakes and you lose everything, you know. So we built this monster. We thought we were unstoppable. I thought this was something I was going to do for the rest of my life. But I feel like what we did to get us there, we kind of stopped doing. And we were trying to be something that we were not. And it kind of backfired on us. And as much as we grew, I'm telling you, I mean, we collapsed in like a year because we just didn't stick to what was helping us get to that position. And we didn't pivot. We didn't adjust and adapt to things that were changing. So that was probably another takeaway that I had from that. So another good thing was just learning to delegate work with my partners, and you wear a lot of hats, right? So when you're an entrepreneur, you're going to work for free a lot of the time. And that's what we do. We work for free a lot. I mean, we do a lot of shit that we don't get paid for. And that's the reality of it. And if you're not okay with that, you're not going to be happy in this business. So I didn't know that as a kid. I didn't know that, but you know, growing up doing this work, that going through that 8 years of the clothing industry, that really taught me that, hey, you know what, you're gonna do a lot of stuff that you're not gonna get paid for, and 10% of the stuff that you love to do, you're gonna do 90% of the other work that you hate doing for that 10%, and that's okay. You have to accept that. So you know, there's gonna be times you're gonna consult people that are not gonna buy through you, are not gonna sell through you. You're gonna go to listing appointments, but it's all practice and it's all fine-tuning and polishing your skills. So don't get upset about that. There's always a purpose in everything you do. So then it was 2018, beginning of 2018, and I lost everything. And my mom didn't even give me a chance to kind of be sad. so she picked up my corpse, said, your ass is coming with us. And right away, I jumped back in. And I was kind of scared. I was like, you know what? Like, let's see, you know, what's out there for me. So the first thing I did was reach out to my sphere. That was just my natural instinct. And I was kind of nervous because so much time had passed. I'm not like the golden boy anymore. And now I'm 38 now. I don't know how old I was when I got back. I was 34. So I was kind of not. I mean, I guess that's young, but I don't feel that way, honestly. So coming back at 34, you know, the benefit was a lot of my friends got way more established. They all had solid jobs, careers, whatnot. So they were kind of in that transitioning stage. I guess I'm a millennial or whatever. So that was like the stage where everyone started buying their homes. So that really helped me out. And the nice thing was, you know, because of the sphere I had, that really helped propel me my first year coming back. A lot of them just said, oh, thank you. There's someone that we could trust in this business. We're really happy to work with you. So, you know, a lot of people can sit there and say, oh, they have an amazing sphere. Look, they grew up in Hollywood or whatever. You know what, though? You have to prove to all those people around you that you're competent. You're not a knucklehead. They really need to trust you because this is the biggest purchase of their lives, you know? So you really need to show that you're a very competent person. And it's not just about having a great network. It's about having a network and building a trust with that network. So you could have a bunch of friends. Doesn't mean they're going to work with you. You need to prove to them still. I mean, you want to make sure you're going to do a worthy job. It's really important. Am I looking at the camera? Sorry.
Yeah, you're perfect.
I don't know what I'm seeing. So, okay. So, you know, so that was, thankfully, that really started my transition back into the business for that first year. And then again, I just started kind of asking around, what's new? What are some new techniques? And honestly, oddly enough, all the things people used to do 20 years ago, that's what they're doing now, you know. So certain things I learned coming back now. I'm not a pushy person. Like I said, I'm not salesy. I'm not like that, but you need to ask for things. You need to say, you know, you have to ask for referrals. You did a good job for somebody. Awesome. You know, write this review for me. Go on Google, write me a review. Tell your friends, oh, you're not selling your house right now. Do you know anybody that is? You need to do that, because if you don't ask, they're not going to say, oh, you know, that's a nice person. They're not that intentional. So you need to kind of, you know, be very purposeful with what you do. Another thing that's really hard for me, even, I like sticking to a schedule daily. You know, you get one phone call and they're like, yeah, I want to see a place in, you know, Pasadena. Okay, cool. So you do that, but then you kind of neglect everything else you had to do. So my wife actually got me a cool journal, which is perfect for me because it's my daily schedule, but it has a to-do list as well. So I see, you know, everything I need to do daily. I split my day up with the first half of my day, everything before noon is with buyers, reaching out to my buyers, scheduling appointments. And then the second half is I have better luck reaching my sellers or potential sellers in the afternoon. So I divide my day into two. And then I set all of the appointments in the morning with buyers, and then in the evening I try to do that same thing with sellers. And but there's always all these things to do in the middle. Order, you know, inspection, get a photographer, do these. So you have to kind of break those things up. Another thing that I do is when I get kind of overwhelmed, because we're multitasking constantly, I kind of just get up and go for a walk. I mean, you'll see me when I'm here. I'll just leave the office for a little bit. I won't make phone calls that moment. I might call my wife to check up on my kid, but other than that, because I need to reset my brain, and I come back and I go back at it hard. Like, so I learned that like balance is a pretty important thing. You know, sorry if I'm jumping into all these tangents, but yeah, I mean, it's just so much, to cover. But yeah, and what I like about this business the most is you could cater things to you know, whatever you're comfortable with, know your strengths. You know, I'm good on the phone. I got much better on the phone. And that's something that I use to my advantage. And you need to have a plan when you call somebody. Like I said, always ask for things. So your goal when you call is to set an appointment, you know. So don't just call and then BS around and then talk for 15 minutes and not get anything done. Say, hey, you know, like, when are you available? When can we meet? Let's hang out. You know, so always ask, always ask, because no one's going to come to that conclusion by themselves. I like I said, you know, I'm not pushy. I'm generally a shy person. You know, if you come and say hi to me, I'll say hi. I'll talk. But you know, I'm usually pretty reserved. So this business for me, I need to kind of get out of my shell. I'm like more of a thinker. I'm a researcher, and I try to find the most efficient, smart ways to do things. But again, you know, at the end of the day, I hate that there's no There's no secret sauce. I mean, there's no special words. You just have to talk to as many people as you can and convert those people. I remember when we first got here, we had like a whiteboard on the wall, and then I wrote a bunch of names down, and I wrote down the price ranges and how much they're gonna, and then so many walked in, and then he goes, what's that list? And I go, oh, these are all the current people that we're about to work with, and these are our pipeline and whatever. And then I was like, we have a pretty high conversion rate. And he's like, you have a high conversion rate? He goes, that means you're not talking to enough people. And it's true. I mean, you're just not, if you're closing 9 out of 10 people, whatever, like, it just means that you're really not talking to enough people. Someone once said, I'm going to butcher this quote, but they said, if you heard 100 no's, that means you're probably pretty successful at your job. Because you just have to keep talking to people, and eventually you're going to get positive results. So as far as what figure out what differentiates you too. I think what differentiates me and my parents is how much importance we give to our clients. We try to be like a concierge. I recently worked with somebody, they're an FHA buyer, and they were looking for like a year and a half. They couldn't find a place. We got them a house in 2 weeks. And he was like, you know what, I didn't know, and one thing I hear a lot, I didn't know how much agents do. I said, you know what, not all of them, so you got to throw that back at them, because they don't value what we do as much as they should. I mean, we go through a lot, and some people, they take this job lightly. They don't get affected, by the emotional aspect of things. I do. I'm honest. It's hard. And rejection is hard. Not getting a house for your buyer is hard when they go like, 80,000 over asking on something that's like 550,000, and you don't get it. You're all cash in 10 days. These things happen, and it takes an emotional toll. But you just need to keep going. That's all. You got to stay positive. And I keep things internally. So if there's any friction during escrow, I don't want my buyers to know. I want them to know it's smooth sailing. So this is kind of what's been our foundation, as a team. Just that unparalleled service, always being 10 steps ahead, And another thing that I take a lot of pride in is, and I learned this from my other business, is business to business relations are important. So when you're dealing with other agents, I like to keep a level of professionalism, because you don't know when you're going to run into them again, and you're going to say, hey, I have a great buyer. If you had a nice smooth escrow and you did everything you said you were going to do in a timely manner, guess what? When you write an offer to that agent again, like a Stephanie Vitaco or whatever that gets every freaking listing in the valley, they're going to say, oh, I remember this person, and we get Christmas cards from agents because they like dealing with us. And that's important. I love when I can say, hey, you know what, Richard Collins in Port Ranch, I know this guy, he owes me, so I'm going to take care, like, you want this house, we're going to get this house for you. I like empowering my clients like that. You should see how my mom, Dee, her clients, they talk about her like they have like a grenade in their pocket, like they're weaponized. That's what you want your clients to feel like. They're not going to get this. They're going to kick the door down, and they're going to walk in and start measuring the book because they know they're going to have it. That's what's crazy. I literally showed an open house in Granada Hills a few weeks ago, and the agent there said, I'm sorry, your mom came here with her client, what's gonna happen. I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, I'm serious. They straight up told me that, so I was like, all right, that's the thing, it's really important to have a professionalism with agents. When I submit offers, I don't just say, hey, you're attached as the RPA. I don't write too long, but I break down the terms, and and my first thing is, when I speak to the listing agent, I say, what's important for your sellers, and I take the same approach with my clients too. What's important for you? Think about them first. If you keep thinking about the other person, good things are going to happen to you, because they're going to see that you're sincere. They're going to see that, this is somebody I want to work with. This is somebody I want to align myself with. And this is someone I can refer eyes closed to other people. Why can you refer, your favorite contractor? Because, eyes closed, they're going to do a good job for that person. And you're not going to worry about phone calls from them saying, oh, this person didn't do a great job. They charged me too high, whatever. So you want that for for your business as well. I mean, what else can I cover? I don't know where else I can go with this, but it's like I said, there's no secret sauce, there's nothing special. Just you have to be a little bit selfless. You have to think about the person in front of you, always look out for their best interests. And that's how you build this into business. You know, there's no luck involved, there's nothing, you know. And now the better I get at my job and the more important I am to my clients, the more I start loving the work that I do, because I see the results. And it's not about the money, it's about making people happy. At the end of the day, that's what it is. And now I know I could scale it by just turning one transaction into 3 transactions. You know, you just keep reaching out to that person. Oh, your brother's looking for a place, send them over, you know. That's just what you got to do, and that's really been our secret formula throughout all these years.
Well, you know what I love too. Thank you, Simon. You know, it's you. One of the things that I admire about you, that you're always in that constant state of growth.
Yeah.
Right. You always are looking. How can I improve? How can I get better? How can I better serve my clients? And when you're talking about your schedule, hey, this is what I do in the morning, this is what I found for me.
Mm-hmm.
So you are designing your day, what's most effective for you to be able to reach out to your buyers, to your sellers, so on and so forth. And then took those, I love too that you took your experiences from, you know, the clothing industry, right? Like, oh, okay, do what got me there.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that popped out. I was like, keep doing what got me there, right? And a lot of times people, you know, when they start seeing success, they're like, okay, let me shift it up a little bit. But you were able to take such great lessons from your past and being part of your journey. So you're in coaching now?
Yeah, I got a coach just because I'm honestly, I felt like I wasn't disciplined enough, and I was kind of all over the place. So I needed someone to kind of look at things from the outside and tell me, hey, you know, you got to organize your day a little bit better, follow leads that are more short term and focus on those. And I kind of wanted to know about additional marketing channels, but I'm always trying to get fundamentally better, you know. So I really went down to fundamentals. So I told my coach, hey, look, I want to have a better listing presentation. I want to have, better buyer consultation, because I like getting better from the one-on-one level. And the more prepared I am, the more confident I am. And the more confident you are, the easier things are in terms of dealing with people one-on-one, you know. When you call somebody, you have to have a plan in your head, you know. And I was always very anti-script, because like I said, I'm not a salesperson, but you need some kind of a formula. You need some kind of like a foundation. So when you call somebody, you know where the conversation is going to end up, and you're not just like babbling and reacting to what they say. Another thing that honestly my coach spoke to me about, and newer people that get into this business, I think, fall in this trap. You when you don't know enough, let's say, you tend to speak too much and you listen less, because you're trying to prove how much knowledge you have, or whatever the case may be. You're a little insecure, so you're going to speak more. So now, you know, you train yourself to just kind of sit back, listen, and, you know, kind of absorb everything. But you also need to read the room. You need to read the room and see what the person in front of you is expecting. So first, read, react, but like I said, you need some kind of a formula going into something. You need a plan in your head. When I go into a listing presentation, I research the hell out of an area. The challenge for us is we're not really into like geographic farming. So because all of our business is referral based, you know, we just sold something in like Malibu, we sold something in West Hollywood, and then another one in Studio City, and you need to kind of be prepared for that. Like, what are you going to say? Like, when I went to a listing appointment in Studio City, the person's like, oh, I haven't really heard about you. Do you sell in this area? You know, I said, well, the reason why you haven't, I don't do geographic farming here. I grew up in the valley. However, all of our business is referral based. We do such a good job that people just refer us to their friends and family. And because of that, you're going to see that we have transactions all over LA. So due to our sphere, due to our contacts and our networks, we just know people all over the place. So we can't just focus on one area, you know, so you need to kind of throw back these answers back at them, you know, and kind of use that to your advantage. You can by being fluid like that. So going into listing appointment, yeah, let's say Pasadena, I didn't really grow up there, but let's say I'm going to an appointment there. I need to show the person that, hey, I did my research. I know the price per square foot. I know the average days on the market. And everywhere has its little pockets, you know. For example, Van Nuys, you got like Valley Glen now. Certain parts of Valley Glen are nicer than other parts of Valley. You got to know the difference between these things. So I learned making a CMA report is kind of like art. You need to really be good at that. It's a skill. So just all aspects of real estate, I'm trying to perfect it. You're never going to be able to answer all the questions, you know. So there's a professionalism with that as well, you know. It's okay to say you don't know something. It's really okay. We tend to kind of compensate for things when we don't know, but it's the real professional would turn around and say, hey, you know what, let me look into that for you, and I'm going to get back to you ASAP. And as long as every time you say you're going to do something and you do it, you're not going to look bad, you know. So don't be afraid to not know something. Don't make it up. That's the worst thing you can do, and people could eventually tell. So just go back and say, hey, let me look into that for you, and I'll get back to you immediately. We get tax questions all the time, legal questions, and we want to answer them, but unless you've been in this for like 30, 35 years, you're just not going to know everything. And then that's okay, you know. That's okay. That there's nothing wrong with that. Did I answer what you said?
Yeah, it's perfect. Did you have a quick question?
I just want to point out, I mean, first of all, what you shared is gold, right? For people that are newer and people that have been doing this for a long time, because it's really the bottom line, the secret sauce, right? It's all about mental strength. And Sam is also, as much as he's successful, is also very humble. And when they won that listing in Studio City, right? Mm-hmm. He competed against some of the biggest names in the industry, and that's just what it is. It's to show the ability, the confidence that I can deliver, and have this track record of success. People are trusting me. That's what I can deliver, and he won the listing, right? So and he got way more than what the seller wanted as well. So that's a shout out, right? And number two, what you mentioned about you, Simon brought that CEO mentality to this industry with a purpose. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a game changer for everybody to understand that, you know, bring that CEO mentality to really make this as a business versus chasing the deal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's a game changer.
Exactly. I mean, we have a tendency to think like salespeople and, you know, look at, you know, how many transactions we're going to have and whatnot. But you kind of have to look at yourselves as like a mini business. You know, what are your channels of marketing? What are you, you know, how much are you allocating towards that? What is your cash flow? How much do you have in escrow every month? You know, if somebody told me, you know, a couple of years ago, hey, you know, you got to average one escrow a week, you know, I would say that's insane. I couldn't even fathom how to even do that. You know, I remember, okay, so when in 2008, when I started my company, that's pretty much when everything went to shit, and they had short sales and all that stuff. So nobody wanted to deal with short sales at that time. It's like a long, crazy process. So my parents, my mom, being super, you know, I don't know what the word is. Talented. I hope she's not watching. Yeah, talented. So she went to her office manager and said, hey, I want to be the short sale department of the company. And everybody was like, wow, that's just sadistic. That who wants to deal with that at that time? Because there was a lot of, but that ended up honestly catapulting them into another level of success. And that year they had, I think, 48 transactions. My mom would get up at like 4 in the morning and just yell on the phone with banks, and it was just a nightmare. But I mean, that's really what established them, because those 48 transactions led to, you know, years and years of success. Her going through hell like that, her clients were like, oh my God, like, thank you so much for doing this for us. I can't believe you, you know, so that year when my parents became that was a very opportunistic mindset, mentality, and they used that to kind of really transition themselves into the next level of success. So I ran away at that time. I started my own company, so I dodged that entire, yeah. So I missed that boat. But yeah.
At the same time, once again, years later, you came over and you're brave enough to, I mean, and I don't know if you know Dean Herman, they work for Simon now, right? They're happens to be his parents, but they're giants. I mean, in the industry, and they're just amazing talent. You took over the business. You have to be brave enough to do that.
Essentially, yeah. I'm trying to pilot things, and you know, I like that now they're actually kind of learning from me, but I could always lean on them for, you know, any advice. But it's nice that every time I reach out to an agent, especially in like North Valley, you know, if I'm ever dealing with like Porter Ranch, Granada Hills, they know the name. You know, literally yesterday, I scheduled an appointment for my buyers, and then, you know, I said, hey, it's Simon Celik with Keller Williams. I'd like to show your property in Northridge. And she was like, oh, Celik, are you decent? I go, yeah. She's like, oh, fantastic. You know, let me know what you need. And it's nice to have that, you know, it's just nice to have that. You know, you want to establish that good name, and when people like working with you, it's honestly the best. Not everything could go smooth, but you need to do your best to have good relationships with agents and good relationships with your clients. This is a relationship business.
Yeah, I mean, reputation is all you got.
Exactly,
Right.
and it's always going to come back.
Last question I have for you, because you know you believe in coaching and you're in accountability. Last year you guys did how many units?
47.
47. And this year goal is how many units?
I guess. Well, we want to hit 1 million GCI. So, you know, we gotta do about 70, 75 units to get there. But of course, it depends on the price point. But we kind of mapped it out to what we need to do to get there. So,
Awesome.
you know, if you just look at the median price of LA, it's about 810. So 811. So if you do that, about like what 40 transactions could get you to 1 million. So, you know, you do the math right there. So whatever number you want to hit, try to go off the median price and work your way backwards like that. And you know, they basically will tell you based on who you are, on average, like every 50 people you talk to will lead to 1 transaction. And then it's pretty accurate. Once you get a little better, that number will get close to 40. So you know, do your numbers based on that.
I love it. All right, Simon, it was amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, really appreciate your time, and am excited for your success that you've had, and super excited for the continued success that's coming. And so thank you for your time. Thank you all for being here.